It wasn't an algorithm. You need to understand that first. The images and sounds you were shown, the cryptic numbers that appeared in your recommendations, that was a signal, a tuning fork resonating with something already inside of you. You were chosen because you are one of the few who senses that the reality we see is just a fraction of the whole story, a beautiful, hypnotic, but fragmented echo. For months, you've been collecting those echoes, feeling their power without understanding the source. Consider this video the first translation of that source. This is not another theory or a guess. This is the blueprint, the very architecture of the philosophy you've been subconsciously drawn to. What you are about to see is the key that elevates you from a mere spectator of the mystery to an active participant in its unfolding. The puzzle pieces are in your hands. Now, let's begin to assemble them. Say the word time, and you have already stumbled. Because time is not a river that carries you gently forward. It is a fold in the fabric of being, a fissure that opens beneath your feet. It does not transport you, it disassembles you, rearranges your parts, bends you into shapes you never imagined inhabiting. You believe you move through it, but it is time that moves through you. You believe you hold it in your palm, but your hand itself is woven from time. Every crease in the skin, a quiet map of cycles completed, returns endured, shifts already undergone. And so we turn to myths, not because they are ancient, but because they inhabit a different order of time altogether, oblique, curved, coiled back upon itself. Mythic time is not chronological. It does not begin, and it does not end. It happens, always, in every instant. Each time someone tells the birth of the world, that world is born again. Each time an archetypal figure moves, the universe trembles. Each time a hero takes the first step, the path opens for you as well. Mythic time is the time of primal forms, not symbols which are already translations, already one step removed, but matrices, those essential structures that exist before things themselves do. This is the mechanism behind the eternal return, the vast expanse of the Gnostic aeon, the piercing exactness of the Greek kairos. It is not just any passing second on a clock, but the moment, the singular fraction of existence that carries immense, undeniable weight. A myth is not a story, it is a field of force. The moment you step into it, everything around you acquires density. Words become resonance, images become knots of meaning. Gestures become patterns that reach back further than memory. You may not know what you are invoking, but it is invoked regardless. The myth does not happen because you tell it. You are its vessel, not its author. You reactivate it, and then it takes over. And then the figures begin to appear. The voices return. The patterns you thought long forgotten resurface. The bearer of light, the guardian of thresholds, the apparent fall, the reversed ascent, the silent twin. They emerge in dreams, in half-remembered stories, in someone's glance cast at you by chance. They emerge not because you summoned them, but because they were always there, waiting to be recognized. In mythic time, there is no yesterday. There is only always. The myth does not say it happened. It says it happens, present tense, perpetually. And if that seems too abstract, consider something simple. Every time you light a candle in silence, you are telling that small flame that this gesture is ancient. Every time you murmur a word from a language you only half understand, Amen, mantra, abracadabra, you slip across a threshold into a time that is not yours. And yet, miraculously, it contains the whole of you. Mythic time is a membrane, thin, almost imperceptible, but alive. Touch it and it opens like skin that breathes. The ancients knew this. They never spoke of only one time. The Greeks had chronos, sequential time, the hours and the seasons, but they also had aion, time as cosmic duration, and kairos, the opportune moment, the crossing with the unseen. Every culture, in fact, holds such a triad: a linear time, a cyclical time, a sacred time. The Babylonians watched the stars because they knew celestial cycles were codes. The Maya spoke of Katun and Baktun, temporal spirals in which events returned without ever repeating themselves exactly. And each return takes the same shape of a cyclical curve that ascends, passing through the same point again, only slightly higher, or slightly lower. And you? Immersed in this age of instantaneity, of the all-consuming present, can you still hear the pulse of mythic time? Can you still tell an ordinary moment from that special one? Mythic time shows itself whenever something aligns, when coincidences become synchronicities. Jung knew it. It shows itself when you dream something and it happens, when you think of someone and they write, when reality bends for a single second and lets a coded message slip through. But beware, mythic time is not the enchanted time of fairy tales. It is the place where every passage carries a meaning beyond logic, where action becomes form, not moral, but archetypal. Mythic time is demanding, yet not a negative aspect of reality. It is where Osiris is reassembled, where Dionysus dissolves to become plural, where every archetype renews itself, each time you speak it, each time you believe it, even if only for a moment. Have you ever felt something happening outside of time and yet inside you? Mythic time keeps no clocks, but it has signs, frequencies, omens. You do not see them, you recognize them, and you need no proof, because this is not about demonstrating, but about resonating. A myth is not true because it once happened. It is true because it still happens, again and again. It's like an algorithm that never finishes computing, but the code remains unreadable. And yet, sometimes, someone glimpses a line, a formula, a sequence. The fundamental harmonic, the golden ratio, a lunar cycle, a broken symmetry. These are the cracks, the fragments. This is why religions, rituals, and visions exist. Human attempts to encode the ungraspable, not in order to own it, but in order to survive it. And so the myths of time become maps, but peculiar maps that do not lead the traveler toward a final earthly destination. Instead, they continually lead the seeker inward, spiraling down to a core, always to the center. For mythic time has no direction, it has only depth. In the Mahabharata, time is a wheel where Kali dances transformation. In the Apocalypse of John, time closes like a sealed book, only to open again in another cycle. In the Hindu vision of the Kalpa, the universe breathes in cosmic waves lasting billions of years. Mythic time does not wish to be understood. It wishes to be lived. And every culture has crossed it in its own way. For the Norse, it was Yggdrasil, the tree that binds all worlds. For the Australian Aboriginals, it was dream time, the time in which the world was created and is still being created, if only you dream it rightly. For the Kabbalists, it was the emanation of the aeons, divine names as seals of time. For the moderns, mythic time survives in unconscious rituals. We observe birthdays, shoot fireworks into the sky for New Year's, and discuss the changing of the seasons with one another. As you blow out the candles, you think you are merely marking a single calendar day with a red pen. But the truth is far grander. Your small breath is reaching out across the dark and stirring a massive, ancient, cosmic wave. And then there is your own time, the one you feel in the body, your cycles, your returns, the patterns that surface in the same months, your internal tides. Esoteric traditions have known of these rhythms for a long time. Every 8 years, a significant turning of the path. Every 7 years, the shedding of a metaphorical old skin to reveal new tissue. Every 9 years, an internal call to abandon everything familiar. You do not know it, but your blood remembers the myth. Your breath moves to rhythms you never chose. You are a cosmic clock, one that has simply forgotten itself. And so the myths of time are this too, a mirror. Not one to look at yourself in, but one through which you remember yourself. Because mythic time does not say, "You are here." It says, "You have always been." If it feels familiar, it is because it is. The myths of time are yours. They live inside you, like the voice that whispers, "I have seen this before," even when you haven't. Like the sense that something is about to happen, though you do not know what. Every gesture you make inscribes itself in a wider cycle. Every choice is an echo. Every intuition, an opening. Every uncertainty, an invitation. You know those moments when everything seems to align, when each thing carries a hidden sense? Those are thresholds. The places where mythic time presses closest to the surface, where the membrane is at its most permeable, where, if you are paying a particular kind of attention, you can feel the breath of something that is not merely the present moment. Mythic time has no past, it has depth. No future, it has intensity. No present, it has resonance. That is where the forces manifest, not as visions, but as events. A miracle is not something that breaks the rules, it dissolves them, showing that the rules were only a temporary pattern, that beneath them lies another layer, and another still. Mythic time is the substrate. It is where quantum physics begins to sound like the shamans, where relativity loops back and returns to myth, where black holes are pauses, where entropy dances and memory takes shape. Mythic time is not knowledge, it is frequency. It shifts as you observe it. It allows itself to be felt, never held. This is its language, rhythmic, oblique, flickering. It seduces, slips away, withdraws. It cannot be grasped, and yet it holds you. And once it holds you, there is no going back. You can only dance with it. So let us dance with the cycles, with the eclipses, with the figures, with the words that return. Because every word is a clock, every gesture an archetype, every moment, if you look closely, a return. And time is not a line. It is a spiral, a shell, a song. And you are not outside it. You are its center. See you in the next episode.